Hello, BookTube. Sorry about no videos yesterday. It was rather a shock to the system, wasn't it? I fully planned on it, but I had this floating deadline type thing hovering over me for the day, and I knew that it would be sticky, that it would involve more than just writing a piece and filing a piece, that it would involve dealing with an editor, because it was more than just a review. It was prose, surrounding prose, it was an editorial project. I knew that that was going to happen, but I had no precise idea when. So it was kind of a ninja deadline type thing that I once I was involved in it, I had to do it. I couldn't just back out and say, oh, I'll see you in 20 minutes. But I can't really complain, because that kind of thing, that kind of sticky, porous deadline type thing, where it's not my review that needs the work, there's a project into which the review goes that the editor would formally or informally like help with. That sort of a thing where I have to be there, sort of. In other words, I have to be in email contact back and forth, is the closest that I come to having a workplace that I need to report to. So, and it doesn't happen that often, so I really can't complain. I would be able to complain if the back and forth involved working on my reviews. But that doesn't happen. I write fairly solid prose. If an editor is going to want to work back and forth on one of my reviews, they're going to have to, in legal terms, show probable cause. I'm not going to quibble about an adverb choice with a 20-year-old. But that wasn't it. This was a big page-long project that needed to be done, and it could have been done without me, but I was right there, and it's the money's good, and it was a nice thing to do. So, but it by the time I knew for sure that was all over, it was time for me to read. I looked at the clock and realized, oh my, your lame ass BookTube friends are going to have to do without you for today. But we're back. I'm back today. Unfortunately, in order to do that yesterday, I had to put off a lump of work to today. So I'm pretty sure that I've got a little mail haul for you here that we can go through and talk about. We have to talk about mail hauls just in general, because there are all sorts of there's a whole new generation of BookTube soul searching videos coming out, and quite a few of them are taking aim at book hauls. So once again, I'm watching all these videos and I'm taking careful notice of them. I think they're fantastic, but in every one of them, I always want to say, "But can I have an exception? I am not brainlessly showing something in front of fairy lights that I'm never going to read. I'm deeply involved in the books that I'm hauling on camera. Can I have an exemption to keep doing mail hauls?" But one way or another, I think a mail haul is the only thing we're going to get today. Because I'm probably going to have to buckle down and work for the rest of my available time until I turn into a pumpkin at midnight. So we'll go through these and we'll see what we have. We'll see if anything jumps out as particularly interesting. This first one is from One World Press. With a very nice note. There's such wonderful people at One World. Oh, okay. Great. I don't know. I think we saw this. Maybe not. This is Shahad Al-Rawi. This is The Baghdad Clock. Look at that. Look at how lovely that is. With a translation by Luke Leifgren. Who got his PhD in comparative literature from Harvard University in 2012 after taking a BA in English and theology from Columbia University and Oxford University. Hardly fit to read a pub sheet with his name on it. Okay, so what have we got here? This was shortlisted for the International Prize for Arabic Fiction, and it sold 25,000 copies in Iraq, Dubai, and the United Arab Emirates. Wow. I wonder what they think of it there. Okay, so the setting is Baghdad, 1991. Oh, sorry. In the midst of the first Gulf War, a young Iraqi girl huddles with her neighbors in an air raid shelter. There she meets Nadia. The two girls quickly become best friends, and together they imagine a world that is not torn apart by civil war, sharing their dreams, hopes, and first loves. But as they grow older and the bombs continue to fall amidst the bite of international sanctions, friends begin to flee the country, and the girls must face the fact that their lives will never be the same. And this is a debut novel. Wow. Okay. I think we did cover this on this channel before. This is the lovely finished copy. A debut novel that's already sold 25,000 copies in Iraq, Dubai, and the United Arab Emirates. And it comes out here in America in early May. Okay. Wonderful. So that's a very... I wonder if I have an advanced copy of this. I certainly haven't got to it. I'll have to see what it's all about. Let's see here. What is next? Oh my. Okay. This is Princeton University Press. This is another finished copy. This comes out in late April, and it is The Talmud, a biography by Barry Scott Wimpheimer. Boy, oh boy. Okay. The Babylonian Talmud, a post-biblical Jewish text that is part scripture and part commentary, is an unlikely bestseller. Written in a hybrid of Hebrew and Aramaic, it is often ambiguous to the point of incomprehension, and its subject matter reflects a narrow scholasticism that should hardly have broad appeal. But there are huge chunks of the Talmud that are very entertaining to read. And the more you love books, the more you'll love reading it. It just has that feel to it. But I get the author's point, or the publicist's point here. Yet the Talmud has remained in print for centuries, and is more popular today than ever. In the Talmud, Barry Scott Wimpheimer tells the remarkable story of this ancient Jewish book and explains why it has endured for almost 2 millennia. Okay. Okay, well, it's endured for almost 2 millennia because it's a religious text. But that's all right. This is probably going to go into a great deal more. Okay, so who is this person with his name? Who is he? Oh, he's very young. He's an associate professor of religious studies and law at Northwestern University. And he's the author of another book on the Talmud. So this is The Talmud, a biography. Okay. All right. Very good. Although this is April, right? Didn't we say this is an April book? My April shelves are just disastrous. Just disastrous. Yeah, this is April. Oh, my. Okay. Well, I'll find room for it somehow. And let's see. What is this next one? Another finished copy. Okay. Alternate Remedies for Loss by Joanna Cantor. This is a finished copy of something I believe we've seen on this channel before. Is this a debut novel? Well, let's see here. At 22, oh, here you go. At 22, Olivia Harris finds herself in a scarily open-ended stage of early adulthood while grieving the still fresh loss of her mother. Her 2 older brothers are settled with partners and careers. Her father shocks them all when he announces that his new girlfriend will be joining them on a family trip. Olivia feels entirely alone and adrift. And she takes an entry-level job in Manhattan in the media world. With a series of almost comical missteps, Olivia manages to piece together a temporary life of sorts, navigating demeaning bosses and dubious relationships with older men. When she makes a startling discovery about her mother's past, her future finally begins to take shape. Okay. And she discovers love letters between her mother and a man who signed his name only with the letter F. Yeah, we talked about this when we had the advanced copy. This comes out in early May. And I do not know. The author's little bio note doesn't mention other books. So is this a debut? No other books by this author are mentioned. Okay, ordinarily you would mention it. If it was a debut, that would be a selling point. But one way or another, I'll find out. So this is early May. And then we'll move on to this one here. Thin little thing. What is this? Oh my. Oh goodness. Okay. This is going to be a paperback release from Reaction Books, which is distributed by the University of Chicago Press. And it will come out in mid-April. It's another April book. This is by Julian Priest. This is Gunter Grass, a study of Gunter Grass. Critical Lives, in the Critical Lives series. Günter Grass was Germany's foremost writer for more than half a century, and his books were and remain bestsellers across the world. The Tin Drum was made into an Oscar-winning film in 1979, and the memoir Peeling the Onion astounded readers by revealing Grass had been drafted into the military wing of the SS, a ruthless component of the Nazi war machine in the closing months of World War II. Grass also wrote memorably about the German student movement, feminism, and German reunification, and was a key influence on magical realist authors such as Gabriel Garcia Marquez and Salman Rushdie, as well as on the popular novelist John Irving. And this is the first biography in English. Okay, so it's not it's a critical study, but it's also a biography. Okay, all right. So this is going to be a paperback release. That's a tough sell for book editors. They usually want to avoid paperback releases, but it could still happen. I am in a perfect position with Open Letters Review where I can review whatever I like. So I'll read it before it comes out and see. And then this is the last one. It's the last book for today. Another One World thing. Oh, okay, great. This is the finished copy of The Aviator. Nice, austere-looking thing there. By Eugene Vodolazkin, the author of Loris, which I don't know if there's a picture here. If you saw the cover of Loris, you would recognize it instantly. And it was really good. I really liked it. I haven't read this yet, though. I was kind of hoping, in a shallow kind of way, I was hoping that we had a cover of Loris, but you can look it up. This is actually very nice. You can't really tell, but the letters on the title and the author are indented into the cover in a very graceful way. Let's see here. A man wakes up in a hospital bed. He has no idea who he is, where he is, or how he came to be there. The only information that the doctor shares with his patient before urging him to write down every thought and feeling that comes to mind is the young man's name. Innocenty Petrovich Platonov. As Innocente starts to write, it outpours a kaleidoscope of images, faces, and events, weaving the story of a young man in Russia in the early 20th century through the turbulence of the Russian Revolution and its aftermath. There's just one question remaining. How is he able to remember the start of the 20th century when the pills by his bedside were made in 1999? Okay. This is a St. Petersburg author. And his publicity bio note mentions that Loris was a success. So this is his next book. This is due in early May. All right, so we have a bunch of spring books here. All right, you already know. If you've been watching this channel, you already know that it really sets my teeth on end when novels do novel things. When novels do novelistic things, that drives me nuts. Because they don't call themselves science fiction, but they're no more. Amnesia is high on my list, right along with Identical Twins. It's high on my list of things that only happen in novels, where it's the author playing God. It's the author saying, "I want to spool out the narrative with complete control, and this is my way to do it." At least this author isn't doing it in the Margaret Atwood style of ham-handed, sloppy science fiction. Where, I want to highlight an issue, so I'm going to imagine a post-apocalyptic world in which that issue is foremost. Don't ask me how it got that way or any of the ramifications other than the one thing I want to tell you about. It's Cormac McCarthy's The Road all over again. But I really like Loris. That's how this works, right? This author now has a huge amount of credit with me. We will see what this book does with that credit. So we have The Aviator. Let's see, we'll put these in. Alternate Remedies for Loss. So we have two novels here. Or actually, no, three novels, because this is a debut. The Baghdad Clock is a debut. Well, it's a bestseller internationally. Then a biography of the Talmud and a biography of Günter Grass. So that's kind of all over the map. And there we go. That is our mail haul for today. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make another video today, but if I can, I will, and otherwise I'll flood you with videos tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.